Hey guys, I'm going to try and make this video super quick because I thought I was just making a video and I guess it like randomly stopped recording, so yeah, that stinks. But anyway, there's a couple things in my introduction that I didn't mention that I thought I would bring up now. My oldest daughter is 2 years old and my youngest is 7 months, and she's still nursing, and you guys probably think I'm crazy for trying to have another one so soon, but I really love having my oldest two close together, so I figured why not have the last one close together so they're not like the odd one out. In high school, my cycles were totally crazy. Like, I did not know what was going on. During my AF, I would get so sick that I'd have to leave school because I'd be puking. I mean, it was horrible, especially during my senior year. So shortly after my husband and I got married, we decided to go to the doctor just to check things out and make sure everything was okay and all that type of stuff. So I went to the doctor, they did a few ultrasounds, and they thought that I might have PCOS, which I guess there's no like straight up test that says, yes, you're positive for PCOS or no, you're not. So after the ultrasounds, they're like, well, let's give it a couple weeks and see if you start a period on your own. Which I didn't. So they called me back into the office and they were going to give me a pill that would help me start, my AF. And after that had started for a couple days, to come in and they would insert Implanon, which they thought was a good birth control to have if you have PCOS. So I was fine with that because we weren't planning to have kids for a couple years. And so I go into the office, and they're like, well, we have to do a pregnancy test just to make sure before we give you this. And so they did the pregnancy test, and she's like, I'm pretty sure you're not pregnant since we just did an ultrasound. It was about 2 weeks beforehand. So she let me leave with the prescription, and she was going to call me if it was positive. Before we can even get into the elevator, this lady comes running out, the actual doctor, not even the nurse. She's like, no, come back in, come back in. So we're walking in, and she just opens this cupboard and pulls out prenatal vitamins and looks at my husband and says, congratulations, Daddy. Yeah, needless to say, we were completely shocked, but yet excited and thrilled at the same time. So that was pretty crazy. So that's how I found out I was pregnant with my oldest. And after she was born, I decided that since I had the PCOS, because they still thought I had it, even though I had conceived, I decided that breastfeeding would be enough for birth control. So I didn't take any birth control. So she was like maybe 3 months old. I can't remember if she had just turned 3 months old or she was about to turn 4 months old. Anyway, either way, I went to the doctor on base. My husband's in the Air Force, like I mentioned earlier. And I was going to get birth control, so I did the consultation for that, and they said to come back in a week and that I could get the birth control of my choice, which I chose Implanon again. And I told them about the PCOS and all that stuff, and at the consultation they gave me a pregnancy test, just a urine sample pregnancy test, and that came back completely negative, which I knew it would because I didn't feel pregnant or anything. And so about a week or two after that, I went back in to get the actual birth control, and they wanted to do a blood sample just to make sure before they gave me the birth control. So I was sitting there, this was before my appointment, and it felt like it had been like hours that I was waiting to hear the results. And I don't know why it was just going on and on and on. And as soon as I got that feeling, I should have known, oh, I'm probably pregnant since I'm anxious about it. But it didn't even cross my mind because of the PCOS and nursing. I was like, there's no way. So the nurse comes out and she's all bubbly, like super crazy happy, like, she must have had something good in her cereal that morning because she was like super bubbly and smiling at me like from ear to ear. I was like, wow, this lady is perky. So we go in, and she's just still smiling at me. Like, she's not really talking. She's just smiling. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. So we go into the room, and nothing is open. Like, none of the birth control packets, like, not packets, but the actual birth control wasn't open. Like, the utensils were off to the side. The gloves were, like, just sitting right next to it. Like, it didn't look like anything was going to happen. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And so I was like, am I pregnant? Like, did the test come back positive? And she's like, I can't say until the doctor comes in, but congratulations. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was thrilled, but I knew my husband wouldn't be too thrilled since my labor with my oldest daughter was like horrific. And I knew he didn't want any more kids for a while. And so I was like freaking out. I was laughing hysterically. I don't know why, but I was cracking up, like dying of laughter. And so I called my husband as soon as the nurse leaves the room. And I'm like, babe, I'm pregnant. You know, I can't get birth control. And he thought I was kidding. I'm like, no, I'm serious. So he just like hangs up on me. So I'm like, oh, great. This is just lovely. So I get home and I'm like, yeah, I'm pregnant. He's like, you're joking, right? I'm like, no, I'm pregnant. And he was just like, wow, like he didn't know what to say. But of course, after a while, he started getting excited, and we couldn't be happier with our 2 girls. So I'm hoping this time around I'll get pregnant easily again. And after I had my daughter, I had been having some problems that I just associated with the PCOS. And I went to the doctor to see what I could do, and basically they told me nothing. So I was like, okay. And so then I kept going to the point where I was like, there's something not right here. Like the cramping, I would be having like the excruciating pain, like for no reason, like no AF, no anything. And I was having all these weird pains. So they let me go to a specialist and see what was wrong. And initially I had told him about the PCOS, but he didn't think it was PCOS, even though I did have cysts on my ovaries, like several cysts, like I guess a ton. He thought that they were all normal cysts, which I'm not sure if you have to have unnormal cysts to have PCOS. All the research I've done just says benign cysts, so that's what I always thought it was. And he thought that I had endometriosis, which is similar to endometriosis, but the tissue doesn't leave the uterus. So that's what I thought was going on. And so he just basically told me to stick with the birth control I had, because I had gotten Implanon after my daughter was born, and to just make sure, you know, for pain management. But personally, I don't like taking Tylenol. I don't like giving it to my kids really, unless they're teething or have a fever. Then obviously I'm going to give it to them. But it just seems like doctors nowadays are just like, take Tylenol, give your kids Tylenol, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just not for that. So after I got the birth control taken out, it was like I was a different woman. All my symptoms were like gone. Like I was just bouncing off the wall. I was so ecstatic. And supposedly the birth control was supposed to help it, but it made it worse. It got to the point before I got my birth control taken out that I wouldn't even be able to stand long enough to do dishes. So my poor husband was stuck doing the dishes like all the time. And now I feel great. So hopefully the birth control didn't screw up my cycles and mess everything up. I had an AF right after I got it taken out. And, oh, poo, my phone just rang. I forget I have an appointment today. Right after I got it taken out, and then I had some spotting a couple weeks later, which I'm considering a period because I did need pads and stuff. So we'll see where this leads us. I've been charting, like I said, and I know I was ovulating a few days ago. Like I know for a fact, so I could feel it. So hopefully everything works out in my favor. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.